Education is the key. They said, go to school. But why are so many graduates purposeless and jobless? On EduShift, we spot the cracks. We challenge the educational system. Torn between science, arts, and commerce, we bring clarity and answers to your questions, and we light up the path for a generation ready to stand out. Come enjoy discussions with educators, employers, and counselors. Let us fix this problem of career misalignment and help you discover yourself. EduShift, only on Global TV.
Hello and welcome to another episode of EduShift, where we'll help you shift towards education that aligns with purpose. I am your host, Preesca Obasi, and it's always a pleasure to have you join us for another meaningful conversation. Now, today, I'd like us to reflect on a decision that many parents make with the very best of intentions, yet one that shapes a child's confidence, shapes a child's character, learning, and even future opportunities. That decision is choosing a school. Have you ever been at crossroads trying to choose a school for your child? Are you a child that is also navigating that path, changing schools from term to term, basically because your parent is not satisfied? Now, for many families, choosing a school is exciting. Parents compare fees, facilities, uniform, academic records, extracurricular activities, and sometimes even the social status associated with school. If you've ever faced this challenge, this very episode is for you, and I'm sure every single parent and student can relate to it. Some parents begin looking for a school before a child is even born. That is called intentional parenting. How many parents, fall into this category? But others save for years because they believe that once their child enters a particular school, success is almost guaranteed. So they choose the best of schools. They scout, look for the connections, do whatever it takes to make sure that their child is in that space and place they want. Tonight and today, I want you to ponder on the question that I'm about to ask you. And this question may change the way you think about education. Is the best school always the right school? What do you even call the best school? The right school is the one that understands your child. Stay with me. Let me start with the story as usual. It's the story of a little girl. Let's call her Amara. Now, Amara was 6 years old. She loved asking questions. She could spend 20 minutes watching ants carry food. It reminds me of my son, by the way. She loved drawing flowers, building houses with blocks, and making up stories with her toys. Her parents adored her. Unlike many Nigerian parents, they wanted the very best for their daughter. When it was time to choose a primary school, they visited several schools. One school had beautiful buildings, another had air-conditioned classrooms, another had advertised that its pupils won national competitions every year. Then they found the school everyone was talking about. Parents spoke about this particular school with so much pride, and its students consistently scored high in external examinations. Now, the school had strict discipline, impressive facilities, and a long waiting list. Without hesitation, Amara's parents enrolled her there. They believed that they had secured her future. At first, everything seemed really fantastic. She wore her new uniform with excitement. She carried her colorful school bag with pride. Every morning she would wave happily and as she enters the school gate. But a few months later, as they say, something changed, right? The little girl who loved talking became unusually quiet. That child who couldn't stop asking questions suddenly stopped asking altogether. Now, she no longer rushed to tell her parents about her day as she would usually do. She no longer wanted to draw anywhere. She cried every Sunday night. And every Monday morning, she complained of stomach aches, sudden stomach aches. Her parents thought she was actually pretending. You don't want to go to school. They would always assume, why is it that you don't want to go to school? Are you becoming lazy? What's the problem? And then they would try to force her. They would sometimes encourage her to be stronger. But the tears did not stop. She continued to cry every Sunday night, stroke Monday morning. Now, one evening, her mother found one of Amara's drawings. She showed a tiny flower growing beneath a huge tree. After the flower, she had written, "Nobody sees me." That struck deep. Her mother stared at the drawing for a long time. How could a child surrounded by hundreds of classmates feel invincible? Because that drawing struck something in her. I don't know how, but she was able to figure out something deep out of it. She knew that something was wrong with school in that moment. She started asking questions, questions like, had they overlooked something much more important? Well, we'll come back to Amara's story because I have a feeling that somewhere in Nigeria today, another child is feeling exactly that same way. And you could be the parent of that child, or you may know someone that knows that child. What makes a good school? Let's begin by asking ourselves an honest question. When you hear people say that school is very good, what do they usually mean? For some people, it means the school is expensive. For others, it means the school has students that speak foreign accents. Some judge a school by its buildings. Some others judge by examination results over time. Others judge by how many students gain admission into prestigious universities. Well, all of these judgments are wrong per se. Academic excellence matters. Safe classrooms matters. Qualified teachers matter. Strong facilities matter. But the challenge is a school can be excellent on paper and still not be the right fit for every child. And that is because children are not all the same. I recently had a dilemma of choosing a school for my child. I had two schools that I had experimented with. I have two children. And one child performed very well in an environment, not performed per se, but academically, they would push my first child and bring out the best in him, stretch him. On the other hand, my second child felt lost in that environment. And then I changed school. My second child, picked up, was doing very well, was socializing perfectly. I saw the rapid change. But my first child was being limited academically because the environment did not, help him maximize his abilities. I felt like he could do better. So the dilemma was, do I have to now put my children in two separate schools? What do I have to do? And sometimes you have to just do that to make sure that your child or your children get the best of environment for each other. It can be that drastic, yes, but it's part of the sacrifice of parenting. Have I crossed that bridge? I'm at the verge of it, but maybe before the end of this very episode, I'll also get one or two. But let's continue. Now, let's take a moment to think about siblings. Children raised in the same home by the same parents, eating the same food, attending the same church, the same mosque. Yet one child is outgoing, the other child is quiet. One loves numbers, another loves stories, enjoys sports. Another enjoys music. One learns quickly by reading. Another person understands better when they see or do something with their hands. So if children are different, should we expect that kind of environment in which they thrive? Or should we expect that the environment in which they thrive may also be different? And that brings me to my own personal journey too that I'm trying to navigate. So I have two children, two different experiences, and two different schools that really match their personalities. It's stress for me trying to, I feel like if I have to separate them into, taking them to two different schools, it affects their bond. But at the same time, it helps them maximize their potentials because these two different schools really, meets the expectation for me, and it helps them, like I said, maximize their potential. Now, this is where many parents make the honest mistake. They choose a school based on reputation sometimes. They try to, put everything together or put their both children in the same group, WhatsApp group, let's put it that way, and just look for a way to group them. There are times you have to ask questions, really. Will this environment help my child flourish? And you need to really ask yourself that question. Now, let us be honest with ourselves. Sometimes we tend to choose schools because of pressure. Perhaps your neighbor's child attending a particular school. I've also been tempted too because there is a particular time that I had lots of neighbors going to a particular school, and I felt like it would be easy to collaborate. Why not, have my child in this school so that I don't have to go every day to pick my child and all. And like I said, I also told that path, but did it work out for me? Not perfectly though. So if you're someone that is influenced by where your neighbor's child is going to, where your colleague's child is going to, it might also affect, the results you get from the school you eventually choose based on that sentiment. Now, or you want to choose a school because you have relatives in that school. Now, I understand, the fact that you want your child to be in a familiar terrain and environment, but you must weigh your options. Above all, let it be that environment caters to that child emotionally, academically. Just look for a way to get the balance. Make sure that it's a win to an extent. The pros are more than the cons. You cannot get it 100, but ensure that at least it's meeting that need to a reasonable extent. Now, where is your child schooling currently? Perhaps there is a belief that a more expensive school automatically means better parenting, but that's not true. Education is not a competition between parents, and every parent must know this. Education is a journey of helping a child become who they are meant to be. And if we forget that, we may end up choosing schools to impress adults rather than support our children. Imagine two plants, a cactus and a water lily. They're both beautiful, right? Both are healthy, but they cannot grow in exact same environment. If you place a cactus in deep water, it will struggle. If you place a water lily in dry sand, it will also struggle. Will we blame the plants? Absolutely no. We would understand the environment that does not match the nature of the plant and take it to the environment that matches. Now, children are much more the same. Yes, sometimes we call poor performance, what we call poor performance is a sign of poor fit. Now, as usual, we bring you counseling techniques and theories that helps us drive our conversation home. Today, I would like us to learn from the work of Carl Rogers, one of the most influential psychologists and counselor of the 20th century. Now, Carl Rogers believed that every human being has an innate tendency towards growth. In other words, people naturally want to learn, want to develop, and become the best version of themselves. But Rogers also argued that this growth depends greatly on the environment. According to him, people flourish when they experience three important conditions. The first one is the unconditional positive regard. Now, this means being accepted and valued as a person, even when correction is needed. For a child, this might look like a teacher saying, "You made a mistake on this assignment, but I still believe your ability to learn." Now, the child understands that failure is not the same as being a failure. Yes. The second is empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand another person's feeling and experiences. A teacher who notices that a normally cheerful child has become withdrawn doesn't immediately label the child as lazy or stubborn. Instead, that teacher can ask questions like, is something bothering you? That simple question can actually change a child's life. And number three is congruence. That's genuineness, in other words. Now, Rogers believes children respond well to adults who are authentic, who are honest and emotionally present. Students quickly recognize when teachers genuinely care about them, and that is something you have to know. A sportive school culture isn't built only on rules, it's built on relationships, it's built on support. Now, if you want to apply all those theories to connect Rogers' theory to choosing a school, many parents focus on the buildings, as we say, the fees, the curriculum, the technology. I agree, all of this matters. But Rogers would encourage us to ask additional questions like, will my child feel safe here? Will teachers know my child's name? Will mistakes become opportunities to learn or reason for shame or reasons for shame? Will curiosity be encouraged in this environment? Will my child feel emotionally safe enough to ask questions? Because a child who feels accepted is more likely to participate and grow. A child who feels understood is more likely to learn. So a child who feels emotionally safe is more willing to try again after failure. And this is what true education looks like. Now let's return back to Amara, the story we started. Her parents eventually requested a meeting with her class teacher. The teacher spoke kindly. She admitted that Amara was intelligent, very intelligent, but she also observed something. Your daughter is afraid of making mistakes, she said. In this class, many children compete to answer first. Amara, on the other hand, knows the answers sometimes, but she keeps quiet because she's afraid of getting one word wrong. Her mother was surprised. At home, Amara loved learning. At school, she was afraid to be seen learning. The school wasn't bad after all. The teachers weren't uncaring after all, but the environment was not bringing out the best in that particular child called Amara. And that realization changed everything. Where is the right school? What every parent should understand before choosing a school is that now her parents thought they had made the best decision. One important question remained: was this the best school, or was it simply the most popular school? Now, today, I want us to understand something very important. Choosing a school is not just about choosing a place where your child learns mathematics or English. You are choosing an environment. You're choosing relationships. You're choosing values. You're choosing the people who will spend almost 8 hours a day influencing your child's thinking, your child's confidence, your child's behavior, and worldview. This is a huge responsibility. Yes. So, there's an African proverb that says it takes a village to raise a child, right? Today, that village in school includes school. A child may spend 6 to 8 hours in school, another 2 hours doing homework, weekends attending school activities. Teachers become role models, friends become influencers, school culture becomes, the identity that shapes them, or what shapes their identity eventually. And that is why parents should never choose a school based on only what they see in 30 minutes. Only what they see in 30 minutes. A school is much more than beautiful classrooms. A school has a culture. A culture is what children experience every single day. Now, what you should look out for if you're a parent choosing a school right now. Number one, does this school know the children, or does it only know results? Does the school know your child, or does it only know the results of your child? There's nothing wrong with academic excellence, but when any conversation is about grade, who is paying attention to the child? A school should celebrate achievements, absolutely, but it should also celebrate kindness, curiosity, creativity, resilience, integrity, teamwork, and all of that. Number two is, how do teachers respond when children make mistakes? This is also a question you should ask when looking for a school. Do not overlook this. Observe a classroom if you can. When a child gives wrong answers, if you can go to that extent, know the teacher. Know if they embarrass a child when they attempt, or does the child or the teacher guide the child rather. Remember, Carl Rogers, children grow when they feel emotionally safe, right? The very third one to look out for is what values does the school reward? Some school reward only academic performance, but you look out for a school that celebrates honesty, service, leadership, innovation, empathy, and collaboration. All of this are very important in life. Yes. Does the school, number 4, does the school partner with parents? Education is actually strongest when home and school work together. If communication only happens when school fees need to be paid, or due to when the child is in trouble, something is missing. Healthy schools build healthy partnership, and parents should be informed. Teachers also should be supported. The 5th one, is my child happy here? Now let me clarify, no child is happy every single day. Don't get that wrong. But there will be difficult, yes, lessons, corrections, and disappointment. But generally speaking, right, does your child feel safe? Do they look forward to learning at least in the whole 5 days they go to school? What's their response? Do they have at least one trusted adult in that school? Look out for all of this. Now, after several conversations with the school, Amara's parents realized something. Their daughter wasn't struggling because she lacked intelligence. She was struggling because she no longer felt confident in herself. So instead of ignoring the signs, they made a decision. They transferred her to another school. Not because the first school was bad, but because it wasn't the right environment for Amara. Now, within a few months, something beautiful happened. Her teacher noticed her love for art, and she encouraged her. Amara entered the drawing competition. The teacher displayed her artwork on the classroom wall. She praised her effort in front of the class, not because it was perfect, but because it showed creativity and persistence. And little by little, the little girl who had stopped speaking began raising her hands again in class. She laughed more, she smiled more, she asked questions again. One evening, her mother found another drawing. This time, it showed a colorful garden filled with flowers. I hope you've learned from this very interesting story of Amara, and I also believe that every parent have gotten one or two from today's episode. We'll now join the kids on the entertainment segment, and when we come back, we'll wrap.
It's edutainment time on EduShift.
Vicky James?
Not my level.
Sammy Call?
Not my level.
Shea Vodi?
One more time. I said, not my level. What does she know about fashion? Coming from somebody who posted AI pictures on her birthday. Ojakwa. As a fashion designer, fashion women. She has not done Obiama, she has not done Taylor, and she wants to jump into fashion designer. I want Met Gala, I want Paris Fashion Show. What does she want? Cocomelon and New Yam Festival. Is that not Ezemo?
Okay, Gugu, my son. How can I do for what?
This is luxury.
How much is this piece, Aisha?
Just 5 million. Phonetic doctor. You are not my target audience. Body what? Body is up back. Rapid. Adora has a fashion set of a toothpick. I can't breathe. You'll be fine. Breathing is overrated.
Okay, thank you very much for still being here with us. That was a fantastic performance there by our children, always doing fantastic. We come to the end of today's episode of EduShift. I'd like every parent to leave with 5 questions. Before you choose a school for yourself, ask yourself, will this school help my child become curious and not compliant? Will this school protect my child's confidence while challenging them to grow? Will this school see my child as an individual and not just another admission number? Will this school prepare my child for examination and for life? And finally, Will this school help my child discover purpose and not just earn certificates? Because at EduShift, we believe education is not simply about getting the best school, it's also about becoming the best version of yourself. Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of EduShift. This is again where we help you shift towards education that aligns with purpose. Until I come your way again next time, I'll say keep aligning, keep making the best decision for yourself, of course, and for your kids. Bye for now.
They told you education is the key. They said, go to school. But why are so many graduates purposeless and jobless? On EduShift, we spot the cracks. We challenge the educational system. Torn between science, arts, and commerce, we bring clarity and answers to your questions, and we light up the path for a generation ready to stand out. Come enjoy discussions with educators, employers, and counselors. Let us fix this problem of career misalignment and help you discover yourself. EduShift, only on Global TV.